Police officer approached and, long story short, said if we didn't have a permit by noon, they would be removing us. So what happened was this fine gentleman here went and began the permit application process to kind of get them off our backs. We were told the next time they are reviewing those is the 26th, I believe, which is 9 days from now. However, we were also told later on in the day that they may be doing a special something on Wednesday to try to make the process go faster. So essentially we have till Wednesday at least, hopefully longer, to figure out what we as a group want to do about this permit. Nothing is like official, nothing like if we don't hand in the piece of paper, the permit does not exist.
Yeah, I guess I did go and fill out the permit application and paid the $50 fee this morning. I did meet with a very nice captain of the Madison Police Force. He did not threaten to arrest us. He just mentioned that he would come down at noon and issue tickets. Tickets was where it was. Anyhow, I went over and filled out the application, paid the $50. Had a very nice conversation with the captain, and then went over later today at 3 o'clock and met with the city park people, the city attorney's people, the health department people, and all of the above. We are going forward with a small little process. There is indeed a meeting on Wednesday to keep talking this. At the moment, the exact time is unknown. They're going to email me all of this. If nothing else, I'm considering it a personal statement. I am occupying on Madison. I filed a permit for myself. You guys don't need one. Okay, that's cool. That's how it works, right?
There you go.
So we are covered under that umbrella, and we are being taken care of by the police department in that regards. We were reaching a critical mass and a critical point. They wanted to know what we were doing and how we were going to present ourselves to the community. That's a very fair statement. So that's where we are. We came across very nice, very well, very peaceful. And that was the message. We are here in peace.
Thank you. I'd like to ask...
You know, a lot of people do want to follow the model that Occupy Wall Street is using. However, Occupy Wall Street is located in Zuccotti Park, which is a privately owned public plaza that they have negotiated the use for with the owners. That means that the police cannot come in and kick them out. That is different from where we are right now. And that's important information to understand, because if we say, well, we're going to do what Occupy Wall Street we cannot currently by legal standards. As far as the previous decisions on permits, the general position was not to seek permits as a general stance of the idea that having to seek a permit for a political demonstration is an infringement on free speech. In Reynolds Field Park, we did not seek permits. Somebody discussed the issue with the police as to our intention, and they actually backed down, gave us the weekend to occupy the park and said we had to be out by Sunday night. On Sunday we went back to talk to them and said that we want to stay for another 3 days, and they backed off one more day. And then on Monday, RGA determined that we would break camp in Reynolds Park pending a determination on where we would move to next, which ended up being here.
I think a permit is, philosophically I'm opposed to the permit process, because it seems to me that the whole ethos of this movement is that we're not convinced that the government, either political or economic, is serving our best interests. And I'm also a historian, and so,
legal opinion from personal opinion?
Well, it's not a personal opinion, it's a historical opinion. But, the historical point is, that's what got this nation going, right? Is the idea that we were irritated about the fact that we felt like the government was not doing what we wanted it to do, and so we said, screw you, we're going to create our own. Now, I don't know if we're to that point yet. There aren't quite enough of us, but we're getting there. But so, I mean, it seems to me that if that's the ethos, if animating ethos of the organization, then we should not go say, oh, please can we protest, which is, bizarre on its face. I mean, like, wait, you asked to have a protest? No, you just go protest.
The reason why we're taking so much to talk about this issue is because it's
a question over how our society is going to work. Do we have the government coming here and telling us whether or not we can have assembly, whether or not we can have encampment, or do we have groups of people coming here in open discussion to decide? So I think, just to save my time, I think it's important to have a process. Personally, I don't like the idea of the government, which currently is not very accountable to us and is more likely to be corrupted and manipulated for their own interests, for them to say, all right, we'll give you a permit now, but they can arbitrarily change it.
I just want to say that because our beef is not really with the City of Madison or the Madison Police, if it helps to improve relations between us and the police and us and the city, and it's not like a huge effort, you know, as a practical matter, I say, let's just go ahead and get a permit. If they were run by a bunch of, you know, right-wing corporatist assholes, and we wanted to be like, okay, we're not getting a permit, you know, give them the finger, that might be different. But I mean, the city and the police, I feel like they're generally on our side, and it's not this is not the fight we should be picking.
We are a small group. We're a relatively small group. So it's a tactical question, and I think that it's to our advantage to appear reasonable. They're willing to give us a permit which exceeds their own legal guidelines as to how long a group can be here on this corner, which is about 2 hours out of every day. Then I think that we should take advantage of it. The other thing is that we really need to give some serious thought as to establishing a permanent encampment somewhere, either on Library Mall, which is under both city and UW jurisdiction, because it used to be State Street, or the sister who spoke initially was talking about something down on East Wash, or Birmingham Park.
For all the host of reasons why it's offensive to be told that you need a permit to protest. That being said, Madison has a unique position legally, and the way that the Madison police relate to protest actions. If the group decides that they would rather seek the permit, I would be willing to go along with that, but just for the record, I am opposed to it.
I think a lot of this debate has to do with being against a permit on ideological grounds. We don't have to ask permission to be assembled, peaceably assembled. That's our First Amendment right, and I support that. However, we're doing more than just assembling here. We're actually camping here. We're setting up structures. We are using space that is not available for the purposes of a general park. I happen to think it's a great use of the park. But I think that, you know, in terms of, you know, being against doing any permit, the city is trying, you know, wants to work with us. There's give and take, and so I'm not actually sure whether I support going through the permit process. It's a hard decision.